Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going to be continuing our season preview videos, taking a look today in the Eastern Conference, specifically in the Atlantic Division at the Buffalo Sabres. So, the Buffalo Sabres, we know the story here. Listen, they have the longest playoff drought in all of professional sports. Right there, that should tell you something. And for the Buffalo Sabres, they're hoping to finally change their fortunes here in 2024, 2025. And there is some optimism for the Buffalo Sabres, but is that optimism and the improvements to this roster either internally or from guys coming in, is it enough for the Sabres to break their drought in 2025? We're going to discuss that here in today's video. So, the Buffalo Sabres. Let's start off with the good, the bad, and then eventually we'll get to our predictions. So, looking at their guys that really need to turn it on. Tage Thompson, that's the starter. Let's start off with Tage Thompson. He had a breakout season 2 years ago. Things kind of fell off from where he was 2 years ago last season, but he still had a good season. We expect Tage Thompson to be the leading goal scorer on the Buffalo Sabres for this coming season. But there is going to be a little bit more help on this team, which I think is maybe going to divert some of the matchups for him, which hopefully will help in his favor, and maybe he'll do a little bit better. You have guys like J.J. Peterka coming in for another season, Jack Quinn coming in, Zach Benson. These are some guys for the Buffalo Sabres that we've been talking about for a couple years since they were drafted, alongside guys like Dylan Cousins and Alex Tuck that have already been here. This team's going to be breaking out. That is the expectation, but the question is, even with some of these guys that are either in their first year as rookies or second year players, are they going to be good enough for the Sabres to get to the playoffs? And you look at some of the additions to the bottom six, I think they made some good additions here. They added Jordan Greenway last year. This year they added one of my former Hershey Bears. You want me to like your team? Add Hershey Bear players. They add Beck Mellenstein to the roster. They also added guys like Nicholas Abe-Kubel, Sam Lafferty, and Ryan McLeod. So overall, this is basically, other than Jordan Greenway, a completely new bottom six for the Buffalo Sabres. And I think this is an upgrade for them. And you consider the fact some of the guys they have in the top six. You add Jason Zucker, who reminds me a lot of Jason Pominville. So you add that type of player to the roster. Love that move. Defense, I think, this is huge. This is something that I don't think a lot of people are talking about with Buffalo. And this is what really gives me pause on whether I truly believe the Buffalo Sabres can make the playoffs in 2025. So you've got the bottoms, the third pairing. You've got Connor Clifton and Matthias Samuelsson. Yeah, that's all right. That's nothing too crazy, but it's solid. Second pair, you've got Owen Power and Henry Jokiharju. I could see that changing up. We could see Power jumping to play alongside Dahlin. I don't know necessarily how they're going to run that there, but this is the real kicker here. So we've got Rasmus Dahlin and Bowen Byram. Bowen Byram was a extremely prized prospect when he was drafted by the Colorado Avalanche. An interesting trade by the Buffalo Sabres and the Avalanche where Bowen Byram ended up in Buffalo. And I think the Buffalo Sabres have got a really good player here. I think this is the type of situation we're going to look back at that trade probably by the end of this season and saying, holy shit, Buffalo fleeced the Avalanche on that one. I think Bowen Byram, not only Bowen Byram coming here, but playing alongside a guy like Rasmus Dahlin and playing with guys like Owen Power, this is going to be the X factor, I believe, for the Buffalo Sabres. As much as Tage Thompson has to continue to score goals at a prolific rate, maybe getting another 50-goal season, you're going to need to see Bowen Byram live up to the hype and live up to the expectations that we have for him. I think that could be the difference maker for the Buffalo Sabres. And listen, it's going to be tough. That is a tough division right now. The Atlantic Division, we're seeing a lot of the teams that have been at the top for the last couple of years, those 3 or 4 teams at the top. Now those 3 middling teams that are kind of trying to get their way out of their rebuild, they're quickly biting at the heels of those teams as they continue to age and the salary cap starts to hit them and their depth starts to get depleted. That gap is quickly closing between those teams, and Buffalo is one of the teams on the rise. Goaltending is another thing here. So you've got UPL, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and Devin Levi. I think both those guys are a pretty serviceable tandem, but we don't really have enough proven to say, like, that is a legit good, solid tandem that I believe can make the playoffs. I'm not ready to say that quite yet. Hoping that could change this season. So that kind of comes down to my prediction, because Buffalo has a lot of good pieces here. This is a really good team, and to be honest with you, I think if they're in the Pacific Division, maybe even the Central, as much as the Central is kind of looking like a better division this year, I think that in their current division, I still don't think the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs. And that's why I've been asking you guys, if you have not already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you have the community tab on, because in the community tab, I asked you guys, I said, do you guys think the Buffalo Sabres will make the playoffs? So using the poll, most of you guys have pretty much agreed with me here that Buffalo won't make the playoffs. 73% of you said that the Buffalo Sabres would miss the playoffs, and that's with 40 votes. So 73% saying miss, 28% of you saying that the Buffalo Sabres do make the playoffs. So there is a 30%, it's 30-70. So I think that's pretty fair, because the Buffalo Sabres are a team, like I said, I have them finishing with 96 points. So yeah, technically they're missing the playoffs, but it's not like the Buffalo Sabres we've seen over the last 5 years, where they're missing the playoffs by like 20 points and the season's done in February at the deadline. Like, that is not the case for the 2024-25 potential of the Buffalo Sabres. This is going to be a team that if they miss the playoffs, it's not going to be by much. They're going to have anywhere between 90 to 100 points. The question is, are they going to be closer to that 90 end where they miss the playoffs, or could they get that 100 points and get to the playoffs? Because I think that's the marker in 2025. You're going to need 100 points or more to make the playoffs next season. And the reality is, there's still a lot of growing pains and a little bit of insecurity with the goaltending, and just looking around the division, I just don't think there's enough there for the Sabres to make it. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the Buffalo Sabres? Will they make the playoffs next season? Let me know down below. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys again next time. Guys, if you're interested, stay tuned here on the channel. We are going to be releasing our fall merch. I'm hoping to add a new crew neck and a new sweatshirt. So if you're interested in any of that stuff and you're subscribed to the channel, stay tuned for that stuff. I'll be releasing some more details for that here in September as we get ready for the fall and things start getting a little colder. It's probably already getting a little colder up in Canada for my friends north of the border, but even for my guys in the States in the Northeast, and eventually it'll start getting colder a little bit more south. We'll be releasing some new stuff for you. I have some interesting concepts that I'm kind of going through now. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, definitely stay tuned. Also, check out the links down below. We already have our Streamlabs shop up. Actually, no, it's a Spring shop. It's on Spring. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, picking up some Goal Line Hockey Drip, make sure to check that out. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you, and I will see you again next time.